Welcome, my friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. For me, it is a toasty 6:30 in the morning. I've been up since 4:25, and so one, you get sleepy voice. Two, you get bedhead Kieran, which is why I have a hat on. But, ladies and gentlemen, the more important thing is you get a dub, a humongous performance from Chelsea. Like, just today was good. Today was legit good. Um, West Ham suck. I'm gonna put that out there. That's for sure. West Ham are terrible, but the the level was really good today. Um, Before we get into it too much, first off, if my voice sounds weird, tell me because I updated my computer and it messed up all my OBS settings. So if something is wrong with my mic, let me know, or like anything goes wrong. It looks fine on my end, but let me know if it doesn't. Well, let's just get right into it. Let's get right into it. Um, Chelsea win 3-0. The XG is a little bit less than that, but I think, as Pico San LT says here, like, can't believe we didn't smash them 5-0. Uh, like, there was a lot of goals to be had today that, like, we kind of pissed away in the second half, and also, like, Palmer and Jackson don't stay on. Like, they both come off pretty early. Um, but that was a stonking, I believe is the word some people say, a stonking performance. Just, like, very good in possession. Didn't have that much of the ball. The Double Pivot podcast, which is Michael Cayley and Mike Goodman. Michael Cayley is a longtime analytics consultant. Um, Longtime analytics consultant working with lots of people. They're like two of the OGs in the analytics game. It's a very old podcast. They were talking this week about how the kind of paradigm of the best teams tactically is they've been a lot more comfortable letting teams worse than them have the ball. And I think that was very much Chelsea today, where, like, we let West Ham have a lot of the ball because it wasn't dangerous. Like, you want to circulate at half, great, have whatever, do whatever you want. Um, and that I think was very pertinent in this game. But for the first 20 minutes, like, Chelsea bopped it. Like, we saw the 3-2, we saw all that sort of stuff. We'll show the kind of tactical stuff in a sec. But it was really nice. And you have Nico Jackson, takes his first two chances, scores two great goals. Um, and that's kind of the game from there. Like, West Ham really don't create anything of danger. It's all kind of out wide and on the angle, and none of it in really dangerous spots anywhere along the way. Um, but it was pretty comfortable. And then I tweeted, like, right after halftime, like, let's go get a third before 55 and kill the game. And they scored in 46 minutes and 15 seconds. So that is a nice change because Chelsea were historically, or at least last season, very poor starters of second halves. But just a really top performance. And that is a good way to go. So let's get into the tactical side of things. So, and then we'll go into kind of the players and the stats. So the big change, quote, big change, and I thought this is what we would do, is we finished the game against Bournemouth where Tosin came for Axel Disasi and became the middle center back, and Fofana became, quote unquote, the right back nominally, and was the right of the three in the build. And the difference between Tosin and Fofana as this player was unreal. I thought Chelsea in the build in the first half were so good. Specifically, these five players were so good. So good. Um, it makes a crazy difference. I think. Um, And we saw like so many times. Colwill as a passer today was just insane. Like the amount of times that these two guys just like break the line into one of these guys and break the line for a bounce and play into these guys with exactly the weight that they can play in one and ba 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 ba. Like Fofana sometimes sees the passes and just like fires it like with pace, and like you can't play a perfect one-time bounce when he fires it. These guys, it's like a nice, perfect, like exact weighted ground pass, and Caicedo Cucurella, you can bounce exactly how you want. And Robert Sanchez is gonna bait it with his right and then play it with his left. Like I thought Sanchez was like pretty good today. But this is basically what it looked like. It was kind of the same old 3-2-4-1, 3-2-5, whatever you want to call it. West Ham defended 5-4-1. I have my Chelsea coffee mug, so that's good. West Ham defended 5-4-1. And it was rubbish. West Ham were so bad, dude. So bad. And really what ended up happening is a lot of times they were in a 5-4, like this. And then Chelsea would have these 5 players literally like this. And it would it would be 5v5 on the last line. And these players would be forced to go. And that's exactly the second Jackson goal is like there's all these players between lines. I think Enzo ends up like over here or something. And Jackson shows, and there's like a couple bounces inside, and he just spins and goes. Whew. I'm sorry. It's going to be a very yawny stream today. I'm not going to lie to you. It's way too early for this. So forgive my yawns, but they're coming. But Chelsea did a really good job of making them defend 5v5, and West Ham did a terrible job of like screening these players with bodies. And this is what it looked like, where like these guys were super comfortable. One of the other weird things we saw in the build a couple times was sometimes Chelsea would build like this, right? 4-2. We've seen that a lot this season. They build 4-2-4. This has been a thing that Chelsea do. And then what would happen sometimes is we would end up like this, right? Mid-rotation to get here. And there wouldn't be like, maybe Sancho would be high or something. And what we would see is like Colwill would flex wide and Cucurella would come here and Enzo would come here, and you'd like complete the triangle of rotations. And it was very weird. I didn't like when it happened. Like there was one time that Colwill got out here and then tried to like wrap one in with his right foot to Jackson and ended up in a turnover. And now you have Cucurella as the center back on your turnover, which you don't love. So I think stuff like that was weird. Oh, my goodness. I think stuff like that was weird. But for the most part, I was like very happy with the build today. I thought they did a pretty good job. I think the last third of the game is a bit of a track meet. And maybe the last 15 minutes of the first half wasn't great. But I thought it was very good in the build. One of the things that I think Chelsea really need to get better at in terms of that build structure, though, not so much in the build, it's more when you end up in like kind of mid-blocky areas with the ball, is there were so many times where like the ball would come to Sancho or Madueke or whoever it is. And so like West Ham bring everybody over and you've got these players here and these players here and this guy comes and this guy comes. And you end up in like some situation like this, and Caicedo can get the ball here. And what would happen is Caicedo would get it here, and Jackson would run, and we'd end up with like this and this. And you'd end up creating like this 2v1. Can I do this? I don't know how to do. No, I don't. I'm not sure. I don't know how to do the rectangles. Yeah. You'd end up with like this 2v1. Right, we're adding tools. Look at this. We got rectangles now, baby. You'd end up with this 2v1 here. And what would happen is Caicedo would try and skip to Madueke so that you can get this one, right? But I think what we've seen a lot with these two is that Madueke is better if he's receiving it like here, because then he can go and he can do his thing. I think in the mid block, you're way better finding Palmer in this space, because then Palmer can like do Jackson here. He can drive to shoot himself. He can drive to slip Madueke. Like in basketball, they call it like the triple threat, right? Like you get Carmelo on the corner of the elbow, and it's like he can shoot, he can pass, he can drive, right? Like you can do all of those three, or he can post up or whatever. Like we want Palmer to get in that triple threat spot as much as possible, where he can shoot himself, he can pass, or he can keep dribbling. Like that's the option we want from Palmer, and I think Caicedo ignored that a few too many times. But other than that, I really have very few gripes about today. It was a pretty nice performance. There's some people are flagging up some stuff I didn't like in the chat, and we'll absolutely talk about those things. But let's go through kind of the big stats of interest. Like I said, it's like a 1.5 XG win, which is always nice. Outshot, but again, look at this, right? Like it's distance, blocked, bad angle and blocked. Like it's kind of whatever. I'm actually curious who took. It felt like the West Ham wingers took a load of shots, but I don't know how real that is. Yeah, I don't know. Very strange. 5 big chances for Chelsea is huge. Missed 2. I assume that's the Nkunku one and probably the Madueke breakaway. Let's see, like the box touches and stuff. Shots inside the box, yeah, like 11-8. Out box touched. Interesting. Yeah, it's a very weird one. Also, like this is gonna get adjusted in post, like Jackson 0.06, because the Palmer shot was like 0.3 XG, so that's gonna get juiced. But it was top, dude. It was top, dude. Let's see what people are saying. What do I make of Bully and Igbali appearing together? It's like I saw somebody tweet that it's like divorced parents at their kid's sporting event. That's absolutely true. That's definitely a thing. Can't believe he didn't smash 5-0. Yeah, we saw that. Caicedo, unbelievable. Dude, Caicedo, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the audio on this, but if anybody remembers this tweet,
I'm with you. Go on, let it out. He wins that ball so much. Brilliant. Why?
That guy, he's like, he wins that ball so much. That is an accurate description of today's performance for Caicedo. Comster one, I'm a little shocked how good the starter's been. Am I just being paranoid and getting flashbacks to the sorry season start? How pattern heavy do you feel we are? Not really. It does feel like we saw more of the up, back, and through. Like you play through, it's a bounce, and then you slip. Like we saw more of that today. That for sure was a thing. But I don't really think that's like patterned. Like we don't see a lot of like, okay, Sancho, as soon as the ball comes to you, you're going to flick it into Jackson and continue your run. Because when he sets it to Enzo, Enzo's going to play you behind. Like, we don't really see a lot of that. And especially not from the defenders. The defenders are very much making decisions with the ball. So that, I think, is a little bit different. Sultan A, I know I said it last week, but I love Sanchez's cross-claiming. I'm so happy with him. Just hope he keeps his brain farts away. Yeah, let's just talk about the team now then, because I think this is a good spot. So I think Sanchez was really good today. So, like, 1.2 XG on target, that I think is way too high for the level of saves he had to make, but, like, whatever, I'll take it. Putting all that aside, I think his passing was really good. He had one giveaway in the first half that made me nervous, and he had the one, like, the long ball over the top that he's, like, kind of come out for. Not really come out for, but, like, has... it's gone over the top and he's like missed it basically. But like 3 cross claims, couple good punches. Like I was very happy with Bob Sanchez today. I thought that was really good. Fofana I thought was like fine. Struggled a little bit defensively. I thought the referee, like the 2 fouls he gives away were not fouls. Like I thought he got done a little bit dirty by the refs, but in general was I thought pretty good. Yeah, in general, I thought pretty good, but what are you going to do on that front? And yeah, I mean, just like a more comfortable role for him. Like, he doesn't have to do the things he's not good at as a passer. I thought Tosin and Colwell were really good. Really, really, really good. Really good. Colwell especially, man. Like, some of the passes he was doing between lines today were fucking insane. Like, I'm curious what his like progressive passes per game numbers look like, because like this is last season he was like 4. Like, what does he add this season? Because 5, it's not bad. I actually think that's probably higher. But that was just nuts from him. And again, Tosin was the same. Like, I thought both of them were super, super good today. I thought Cuckoo was just okay. Like, not very good defensively. And, like, it's a hard, like, Bowen and Kudus are, like, legit. Like, that's a hard matchup. That's a hard matchup. But, like, okay, not bad. Caicedo was special today. Like, upped the risk on his passing a little bit. Which I thought was nice. And then just defensively, like, this is a dummy performance. So first off, just to explain, like, people are going to see this and be like, he only won 4 of his 8 tackles. So there's, like, a couple things that we should understand, right, about the way tackles are recorded. So if you look at the Opta glossary, which I actually think I have. Hold on. Give me a second. I think I have the Opta glossary here. I'm going to pull this up. I'm gonna pull up the Opta glossary and show you exactly what it says. I'm gonna have to minimize this, I think, to get this over. Okay, can you see this? You can. I know you can. Okay, so if we go look at tackles, okay, tackle, dispossess an opponent of the ball. If you win the ball and keep it, you get a successful tackle. If you win the tackle but don't even get the ball, but the other team gets the ball, so you poke it back, that is an unsuccessful tackle. So that does not mean that you didn't win the ball. Really? Like, your team doesn't have it still, but you made the tackle. So when we see that Caicedo is 4 of 8 on his tackles, please keep in mind that like, actually he won the ball on all those tackles, or whatever that means. Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, just a crazy performance from him. The pass for Jackson goal is nuts. I thought Enzo. Somebody asked me to talk about this. Somebody asked me to talk about this, and I thought Enzo was okay today. I thought he was pretty good as a passer facing forward. I thought he was very poor defensively. I don't know. Not great, but, like, I don't know what the... I thought he looked way better when he was deeper, though. I'll say that for sure. Madueke, I didn't think had a very good game. I thought he was very wasteful in some of his transitions and, like, got weirdly selfish as the game got stretched, which, like, I guess makes sense, but not a good performance from him, in my opinion. Palmer, I thought... Palmer had an interesting thing today where Palmer was fouled 5 times. There were at least like 3 that he got fouled and were played advantage on. And, like, he is going to have to deal with how to handle like being the guy, right? Because what happens when you're the guy in the way that Palmer is, like super ball dominant, like I'm going to get the ball, I'm going to create everything as a passer, I'm going to get so many shots for myself, is like people are going to kick the lumps out of you. And I thought today he really struggled with like getting any sort of volume while he was being fouled so much. Like I think that was very difficult for him. He ends up with a great goal and a great goal, really, and that was kind of it. Like he just doesn't he didn't really do that much else. So I think like that's going to be a thing. Is like how do you find the game? And so what we've seen so far this season is he drops deeper to get the ball, which works because he's a really good passer. But I think that's like something to be cognizant of. I thought Sancho was just good, like really smart passer, super smart passer. Chelsea Youth had like a thing about how because him and Hudson-Odoi were such good scorers at youth level, people slept on how good passers they are. But man, he did some very special passing today, and has done for Chelsea so far. I would have liked to see him generate a few shots for himself, but that's fine. And then my striker. What amazing content. Me yawning for half an hour. Jackson was so good today. Hold up was unbelievable. Connections were so good. 4 shots, 2 of them really good, like really good situations. Great slip for the Palmer goal. Like on the Palmer goal, he does such a good job of like he drives inside first so that this player turns and then he slips the ball just like whoop the other way. And it makes such a difference. Like I cannot express how much of a difference it makes by him making this guy turn his hips. It frees up so much for him. Yeah, and that's kind of where those guys were. I didn't think any of the subs were particularly good. Yeah, I don't think any of the subs were good, if I'm honest. I thought Felix and Nkunku were okay. A little bit of pop, lots of shots. If Nkunku scores, like it feels probably a little bit better. But like there's worlds where like Nkunku scores the header and Felix scores one of his 2 quite good chances, and like this is a 5-0. So that was the game really, which I thought was very nice. Let's see, what other questions did I miss in here while I was going down? Sanchez, Tosin Colwill is actually a great setup. Colwill genuinely might be the best passing center back I've ever seen. Dude, he's having such not a glow up because he's always been a really good passer, but like Colwill feels like he's leveled up. There was a pass in the first half, maybe like 12 minutes in, that he has played to Jackson, and I don't know how he got it there. Like there was nobody. There was no angle, there was no line, and he's like warped the ball through the space-time continuum. And I was like, I don't understand. So that I thought was nuts. Why not just have Achimpong on the bench instead of Axel or Benoit so that we have a proper right back option instead of 2 center backs? West doesn't look comfortable defending at right back. I thought he was okay. I think like Enzo Maresca got asked this week about I want to pull up the exact quote so I don't get it wrong. So I want to pull up the exact quote. Also, again, somebody let me know when the press conference is done, so I can see what his so I can see exactly what Enzo said in the post-match presser today. But he got asked about where is it? Is Josh ready to play minutes? And he basically said like he's good and potentially he can be great. But like we got to work with him a little bit, and like you need to bring them to the middle. And like what I think about this, and like I've worked with a lot of young players, is like he says they can think they're so good or so bad, and this is very true about young players, that when they have their performances, they are either 10s or 0s, and that's how they feel in their head, even though it's not true. And the thing about like the best pros is they bring themselves to the middle. They're steady eddies. And so I think that's true. However, in relation to why not have him on the bench, I think the one that you're like, you should have him on the bench is over Mudryk. Because Mudryk is never going to play over Nkunku or Felix or Neto. And when you get to the point of it's the 75th minute and we're up 3-0, I want to make a sub, like you'd much rather just bring Achiampong than Mudryk. So I agree with you on that one. Having Sancho makes a huge difference. No more turnovers every time he passed the ball to left. He wasn't great today, but kept the ball and passed it back. Absolutely. I've been saying it on every stream and every pod. Like, ball retention matters. This is why, like, the last title-winning team that Chelsea had was Willian and Pedro. Played a ton of minutes because those guys did not turn the ball over. They made it stick and kept it. The best Tuchel teams had Havertz and Mount keeping the ball in the final third. Whatever you thought about Havertz as a player, the thing he did really well was keep Chelsea on the ball in the final third, and it really matters. Feels like they're not taking advantage of Palmer's ability to start the move. Yeah, totally agree. Need to use him as a passer more. Thomas Wilkinson, any thoughts on basically all of our winger performances? Yeah, I think I just went through everybody. Sancho's moving me with the passing. The passing is there for me. Really like Tosin today. I need to text my Fulham friend. I have a Fulham friend. I'm gonna text Chris and let him know that that sucks. Bad Rabbits, I do ask what you do about right back with James and Gusto. Saw DPZ mentioning Chilwell. Chilwell is a right back? I would definitely not do that. And somebody actually mentioned this later about like Gusto in midfield and Tosin to right center back. If it's Gusto at right back and Gusto's going into midfield, then you just play Fofana center back. And then it's Cole Wilmeder center back, Cuckoo left center back, and Fofana right center back. And it's the same solution. But I think what they had today is it works. Like, I think that's totally reasonable. Kudus, Somerville, Bowen is a very difficult 1v1 front three to manage, and most teams cannot play that. I think that's fine. What do we do when Reece is back? Yeah, I don't like Cuckoo inverting his midfield because he's too stiff. Angle's always to the goal. Just passes back. I don't think he always passes back. I think Cucurella is like actually a useful midfield passer. Like, even if we look stats wise, like 3 passes into the final third. I bet you I can pull his McClockbot pass map and we can see. Let's see. But I don't think he was. I don't think he's a particularly bad passer. I don't think he's like Enzo Fernandez or like Toni Kroos, but I don't think he's bad as a passer. He does circulate a lot, but that's kind of his job, right? Like that, the way that two are asked to play is like, just don't turn it over. Bring people close to you and don't turn it over. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is all backwards. Not bad though. But yeah, this Cole Will pass map is nutty. This is the one. This blue one here, I think, is the one that this blue one. I was like, I don't even know how you did that. But yeah, this is great tools, by the way. If you want to just like pull stuff, the McClockbot app is a slapper. I love it. I'm curious what he has the XG map as. Gusto works in my field. Yeah, that's the one that we just said. Enzo probably never does this, but don't you think Chile at left back helps Sancho because we can make more space for him? I think Cuckoo at left back makes a lot of sense from a. I think Cucurella at left back makes a lot of sense from a. Sorry, it's early. Give me a break. I think Chilwell at left back makes a lot of sense because he can be the high and wide width holder who doesn't turn the ball over that much, but also makes runs in behind all the time. I think that can be a real thing. And I think he's going to start against Barrow. I would be surprised if he didn't. But I think that works. I don't know if Sancho's the winger you play there. Like, I think you probably go Felix or Nkunku, the left winger. But maybe it is. Like, Sancho comes in as a left 10 or something like that. I think those options are real. But right now, if I'm being honest, I think Sancho as the width holder has been really useful. So I would be hesitant to change that for now. I think I tweeted out we need to tell Sancho what we told JRK if he just shoots more. Yeah, crazy. Off topic, Bakir, could you please recommend some good books material on game player analysis? There's lots of courses, but like I'm very hesitant to recommend like the player analysis courses. But there is like Ollie Gage's group. I can't remember the name of it. Their logo is green. Has a bunch of courses that I think are quite cheap if you want to spend money. Stevie Grieve has some stuff as well. But honestly, like I think the best way is like go read books and also like do it and then put it out in public. My biggest recommendation is like if you're doing work and you don't know if it's good, is put it out in public and you will find very quickly if it's good or not. Because there's the thing about Twitter with soccer is that like if you have takes, like people will tell you they think your takes are bad. And so you learn a lot about your own opinions and like it matters. That I think is probably the best way to go about it. Sterling was so bad at keeping the ball last year. Yeah, this is the thing with Sterling is he was a turnover machine. Same with Pulisic, same with Mudryk, same with Madueke last year, same with I don't know, every winger Chelsea have played for like years. Yeah, not and Kuku's XG on McClockbot is minus 0.24 from the FOTMob XG. 0.45 versus what was the FOTMob one? Where's Cristobal? No, like 0.15, which is like not unreasonable. It's a header from like 5 yards out. I'd bet you they have different coordinates as well, where like XG is very sensitive to coordinates that close to the net. Do I think by the end of the season Enzo will still be starting? Enzo will start as long as he is here. He makes too much money and he costs too much money. But I think Lavia will play. I think that's a 100% a real thing that will matter. Crazy how quickly McClockbot updates. Yeah, that's I don't know if I can say where it comes from, but the data is there very quickly. I won't dox Dimitri's setup. But yeah, it's there. Tosin's too good to bench, both on the ball and in the air. Fun as a liability. There's situations where you'll want to play him, where you don't want to play him. But I thought Tosin was very good today. It really matters. Mbuemo scores against Spurs first minute. No way. Really? Yes. Yes, baby. Okay, so first off, just by the way, for some reason, the way my like chat is set up on OBS, I can't see whatever the newest comment is. So if somebody has like a really awesome question that's the newest comment, somebody put like an up arrow underneath so it bumps it up. But I cannot see the newest comment for some reason. That's funny. I don't think Spurs are very good, so I feel very justified. I'm gonna update this because it'll probably change later. But like just to highlight where we're at year over year. Because I think it's fun. So I already have so what are we at? 2.3 to 0.9. So that's 1.4. And 2.3.9 shots for, I think it was 14 to 16, something like that. How riveting. 15 to 12. Not even close. And box touches were 32 to 34. I don't know, year over year, man. Pretty interesting. Like, we're not that far behind as an XGD team. Basically the same now. If you look at the penalties and stuff, like, it's pretty good. But today was legit. And, critically, if I go all the way over to wherever Chelsea are, today was 3. Last year was 0. Chelsea are now 5 points ahead of last season, 4 points ahead of last season. It's pretty nice, man. It's pretty nice. Like Chelsea are already at a point where like you should be you should be confident. You should be not confident, but like I think today will actually meaningfully move the needle in terms of Champions League. Castledine goal, nice. Has Morenzo? That's what I'm calling him. Has Maresca done his press conference yet? Like, should I go searching on the Twitter for it? Oh, this is another one, by the way. If you're trying to find XG stuff, I love this account. Mark Statspot is really nice. There's lots of really fun stuff. Like, the expected threat here is like more even because West Ham have so much of the ball, but like that's fine. Yeah, very interesting build, eh? Look how low Madueke is. Fulham 1-0 versus Newcastle as well. Oh my god. That's fun. I wrote 2. Where did I write 2? Oh, I did write 2. It is 5. Thank you for catching that. Nice. So it is 5. Yeah, like we're gonna get 75 points. We're gonna win the league. Yeah, this is a fun one. There's lots of interesting stats here. I'm curious what. Look at that progression via carry, baby. Look at this from Colwill. Yum. So Mark Arsats does fields gained. So this is hundreds of yards. So like 600 progressive yards as a passer today, which is always lovely. PPDA, yeah, didn't really press. 0 high turnovers to 6 though. Press was legit. That's pretty nice. Increased or decreased? Caicedo, my boy. Caicedo was so good today. Tweeds and I have a running joke that like I say Caicedo's spectacular every week, and then Tweeds says he's a 7, and Mr. Tweeds is on vacation this week, and I've started giving him grief because he seems to miss all the really good Caicedo performances, which I think is really funny. This is because of the header at the back post, which is kind of fake. But nice. I think that's fun. What else we got in here? There's so much. There's so many good things on this, man. Like, it's very interesting to see how all of Chelsea's progressive pass attempts were deep. All deep, which I think is fun. Wan-Bissaka, sure. No Maresca quotes. All right, hit me with your questions. We'll go until Maresca talks because I want to go back to bed. So hit me with more questions if anybody's curious about stuff. I'll give you my Barrow team. My Barrow team would be my Barrow team. What do you mean? What a 5 minutes? What's happening? What am I missing here? Southampton beating Ipswich as well. Who scored? Tyler Dibbling. I got him into my fantasy Premier League team this week, which is lovely. It's sad, actually. Not sad. It's sad for Chelsea, but like good for him as a human being. Chelsea bought him. Like, he was a Chelsea player. Had a really hard time moving to London away from home because he's from Southampton. Had a really hard time. And Chelsea were like, you know what? Like, you're a young guy. Like, we'll just, like, Southampton give us our money back and like, you can have him. And they just let him go back, dude. Like, that's... I think Chelsea get a lot of grief, right? Chelsea get a lot of grief for how they handle the young guys. But I think Chelsea, like, they do the young players in the academy. They really do right by them, I think. I think they really, really do right by them. And like, I remember when Lamisha Masanda, the other Masanda brother, broke his leg, like, Chelsea employed him as a scout or something for like 2 years so they could keep paying him while he recovered from breaking his leg. So Chelsea, I think, like, as terrible as Chelsea's rep is, I think actually we do right by a lot of guys. Solanke. Golanke. I got him in fantasy as well. Let's go. Yeah, I think that is. I agree. I think it is very good at the club. My team for. Let's just do it in here. My team for. I want to get rid of. How did I get rid of this? Remove that. My team for the. I'm not going to change the numbers because I cannot be arsed. And I'm also going to save this. No. How do I save it? So who did we play today? West Ham. Add to the collection. This website is great, by the way, if you want to like play around with stuff. It's amazing. Like I've just been putting each of the Chelsea games in, which is fun. So if we were to play Barrow, I'm not going to change the numbers. Jorgensen starts for sure. I would go Chilwell at left back. So I guess I'll just do it with Cucurella. He wouldn't be the one who inverts, but I would go Chilwell at left back. I would go with Achimpong at right back. I would go with Axel Disasi at right center back. I would go with Benoit Badiashile at right back, or at left center back, because apparently I can't remember my thing. I worry that a lot of the doing right by youngsters was Neil Bath. It's very possible, but I think like Chelsea Youth did a really good long article. Let me see if I'm gonna put it on screen and I'll post the link in the chat because it was actually a really good. Well, I can't remember what his website is. Let me find. Does anyone know what his website is? No. I don't know where it is. Okay, he did a really good article about, or just like a blog post about the academy post Neil Bath and Jim Fraser, and he talked about how like they built a lot of stuff that the academy is still going to be really good. And I think as much as it's going to be really good, I think it's going to be really good people. And I think that really matters when we're talking about young player development. What are your thoughts on Caicedo versus Rice? Just different players. I think as a pairing, they would be scandalous, though. Scandalous. What software are you using? I need it. This is called Tactical Board. It's great. It's in your browser. It's wonderful. I also use one called Tactical Pad, which is a like an app that I think the pro version is like $60 a year, but it's pretty good for designing sessions as a coach. Like I have like a pretty good archive of like all the sessions that I've done. Can Chilwell play the League Cup? Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. Regardless, this is where I was at, I think. And then I go Vega as the other defense midfielder. I'd get Carney a start here because I think he actually will start. And then I would have João Felix or Dewsbury Hall as the 10. I don't really care who. And then I would have Mr. Tyreek George as my one winger. I would have Mihailo Mudryk as the other winger. And I would have Mr. Christopher Nkunku as my 9. And that would be where I'd go. I think it is absolutely critical that these two guys start, and you probably have them on opposite wings to make your life easier. But that's absolutely how I would have that team set up to play against Barrow. And I would not bring on Palmer. I would not bring on Jackson. I would not bring on Enzo or Caicedo. Just do whatever you want. And I would like to see Keanu Dyer, and those are the ones that I would like to see. But that would be my team for Barrow. I'm actually really excited for that game. I will not be streaming because I will be at work, but I will watch it when I get home, and I'll probably do I'll probably do like a short post game podcast or something. Whew, my goodness, I'm so sorry. All right, somebody said Enzo started his press conference. Let's see if it's going. Let's see the goals. Oh, Leo Castledine scored. That's fun. Oof! I think somebody's gonna spend a lot of money. You know what? I had totally forgotten about Guiu. I'd totally forgotten about Guiu. He probably starts. I'd totally forgotten about him. In that case, Felix definitely doesn't start, and Kunku starts at the 10, and Guiu starts probably. But yeah, I want to see Dyer. I'd like to see ISS as well. I don't really rate ISS as much as other people, but and Buemo is gonna get a huge move, dude. I really like him. I think he's a very good player. Ooh, and Dyer. Let's see this dribbling goal. I cannot believe Adam Lallana. Oh, this is... Gentlemen, in the chat. This is a nuts touch. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have been so nice. Maybe he should have had to stay. How about that? That boy is nice. Musiala, that's unfortunate. It really is. It really is. Okay, let's see. I want the Maresca comments. Who's tweeting out the Maresca comments? I want to see them. Somebody let me know. Comster, I can only read half of your question because my chat is borked for some reason. Live chat. No, can't do that. Can I just close that? Will this break if I do that? Okay. I can see them all now. I fixed it. Does a trio of Sancho and Kunku Palmer behind Jackson make sense? Yeah. I think we're gonna see. I think we're absolutely gonna see that sometimes. Like, I just changed this. Let me save this one as Barrow so I don't forget. And let's go back to the West Ham one. I think what we're going to see sometimes is that this ends up being Nkunku in here and we see Palmer wide. I think that's 100% going to be a thing that happens. And I think when it's James and Gusto, like, I bet you at some point we're going to see this. Like, I bet you we'll see it. I have been pretty impressed with Enzo's willingness to try different solutions so far. So we'll see. Wasa, you did to yourself. I like your tweets. Jim John, do you do much coaching? Not really much anymore. I moved to the U.S. for work, and I can't work with other than my day job for my visa. But I used to coach a university team in Canada, and I used to coach a semi-pro team. Not a super high level, but in Canada, it was about as high as you could coach in Canada. But yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of fun, and it made me much better at watching the game, I think. Wasa, did you see Hampton save yesterday? Yeah, it's funny. I Sabrina D'Angelo. Fun fact: Sabrina D'Angelo, the goalie who nearly scored the header, her and I used to train together when we were teenagers. She's a little bit older than me, but we grew up in roughly the same area, and we had the same goalkeeper coach. So we used to do, and because she was a very good women's goalkeeper, she used to train with boys a year or two younger than her, and so we used to train together when I was a teenager. Yeah, very lovely. Small part of the world. Will I ever do a Chelsea player tier list? Not today, but somebody remind me in the future and we can do it. Sure. When Estevao and Kendry Pais come in next season, which players do you think we will have to shift? What do you think? What are your thoughts on Estevao playing the 10? I think Kendry Pais will not play for Chelsea. I think he will play for Strasbourg. So I don't think that's an issue. And I think one of the wingers will go. Probably Mudryk. Almost certainly Mudryk. But that doesn't really solve things for you. I think Mudryk will go for sure, though. In whether it's on loan or permanent, I don't know, but I think he will go for sure, and I think they will be not slow, but I think they'll take their time bringing Estevao in. You don't have to rush. He's really good, but also he's 18 and he gets injured all the time. Like, you really don't want to rush that. I think it's going to be much more like Vinicius, where he plays like maybe 12 90s his first year, and we go from there. But I don't think Kendry will play for Chelsea his first season. I think he will play for Strasbourg for a year. H1Bs, I feel your pain. I'm not on an H1B. I'm on a TN visa, which is not really a visa, but it's only for Canadians and Mexicans. It's like a fair trade NAFTA visa. It's a very weird one, but it's easier to get than an H1B. Thank goodness. Did you see the Mudryk to Marseille link? I thought that was fun. Yeah, I would be super into that move. I've heard like some Bundesliga buzz, but like, yeah, like a continental European league for a pretty good team, like a firmly top half team, like in a league of 20, like the 5th or 6th best team, I think is perfect for him. Where he's not gonna like stomp because he's playing for, this would never happen, but like he's not playing for PSG and he's not playing for Bayern. But like he's playing for like a pretty good team who plays with a lot of the ball, is like critical. Like, they cannot be a transition team. If he goes to a transition team, it's a waste of everybody's time. He needs to go somewhere that they will have lots of the ball and they're pretty good but not amazing. So I think Marseille is like a pretty good spot for him. And Marseille have spent a ton of money this year. I don't really know how, but like if you can get a couple million loan fee and wage coverage, you do it every time. I think I would be really surprised if he didn't move in January. Didn't Pais and Estevao both get promised first team football at Chelsea, or was that just Estevao? Anyone who's saying they know that is lying. My guess is Estevao was promised an accelerated first team gig. I would be shocked if they told Pais that, because they'd be lying. There's no way. Pais is really good, and he's playing at a very high level, playing regularly in Copa Lib, but like the Ecuadorian league is so far away. So like, for comparison, Caicedo was excellent for the same club that Kendry Pais plays for, and needed a full year in Belgium before he was even playable for Brighton. And then I think needed 2 years at Brighton, a full season at Brighton, before he was like that good. Let's see. I think. Yeah, he had a full season at Brighton before that. So like, where he didn't play. And like Caicedo was as good as Pais, probably better. Have you been watching Cesc Como? No, I haven't seen any of Cesc Como. I've heard good things about Cesc, but I haven't watched any of them. Thoughts on Chelsea moving from Stamford Bridge? This is my thing. Okay, so first off, I have a CPO share. I would recommend you all get a CPO share. It is the only way that you can make sure that you have a vote in what happens at Chelsea. In any way, there is no other. You have no other control in any other way other than getting a CPO share, which means you get a vote if the club want to move. I don't live in England. I go every couple of years, and I go to matches when I'm there. But I would go if Chelsea played at Stamford Bridge. I would go if Chelsea played at Wembley. I would go if Chelsea played at Twickenham. I would go if Chelsea played wherever. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect me. So my thoughts on Chelsea moving from Stamford Bridge is that I don't care. However, people I know who are friends who go to Chelsea every week, like most of them don't want to move. Now, Earl's Court is a little different. Earl's Court is not far. Like, if we pull up a Google Maps, I'm doxing myself. Anybody want to come to Reno, you can come visit me. Like, if we go to... Nice, everybody just saw my address. You can all send me mail now. So if I go to Stamford Bridge, I can't wait. Somebody's actually going to mail me a letter now. That's going to be weird. Okay, here's Stamford Bridge. There's Earl's Court. Okay? Like, this is where that development is going to be. That's really close. That's walking distance. Okay? Wassa, you're not getting a flight to Reno because it's impossible to fly here. It's a tiny airport, and there's like 10 flights a day. It sucks. I can never travel because of it. I got to leave and go to like San Francisco. It's not far. There are lots of people, I think, who would be totally fine with this move. And I think... I think people would be totally fine with it. Like, I don't think anyone would care. The positive of these two is that it would allow us to play at Stamford Bridge until we moved, until the stadium at Earl's Court was ready. Whereas if we are choosing to redevelop Stamford Bridge, you cannot play. Like, they can't do the construction play. Even if they do stand by stand, like, I don't think it's viable there. Which would mean that instead of playing here until you move a couple blocks away, you go play at... Where's Wembley? Wembley's like way up here somewhere. I don't even know. Where's Wembley? Let me pull the old Wembley out. Like, very far. Very far. I was pretty close. Not close at all. Or you're going to go play at Twickenham. No. Like, these places are not close. Like, these places are not realistic to me to go play there for 4 years. So, like, as Wassa says, people would vote for it if we win a few games. People voted for Battersea, too. Yeah, like, people... I'm pretty sure the Battersea Power Station Stadium one was, like, people were about it. So, like, I don't know. I don't care. The point being is, like, I will use my CPO share to vote how my friends who go to games tell me to vote. That's how I'll do it. Is Twickenham actually easier to get to than Wembley? That's pretty crazy. The only reason not to leave the bridge is the actual history of the physical stadium. My granddad has his whole history of which seats his season tickets going back 60 years. And I think that matters. I think that really matters. Like, I know people who have had the same seats at the Raptors since the Raptors started. The Toronto Raptors in the NBA. Like, that's a thing. I know people who have Hamilton Tiger Cats tickets, which is like my local team, like going back 50, 60, 70 years. Like, that's a thing. So I get it. Like, it is what it is. I do hope there's a solution, though, because, like, Stamford Bridge is not in the best shape, and I went like nearly 5 years ago, actually like 7 years ago now, and it was not in the best shape then. So, like, I get it. Yeah, Wembley is a nightmare to go to. I've been to a few games at Wembley. It's a bit of a mess. It is absolutely a bit of a mess. One ex-Chelsea player you'd want to add to this squad. Do they have to still be playing? If they have to still be playing, so like what they are currently, Reece James before he got injured, maybe? No, Petr Cech for sure. Like, absolutely a goalkeeper is like number one. Petr Cech or like peak N'Golo Kante if they don't have to be playing. If they have to be what they are now, there's not really many players that I'm like, oh man, Chelsea. Oh, I guess like Musiala probably is the one. Musiala or KDB or yeah, probably those guys. No, KDB's a little old. Musiala for sure. Yeah, I think that's the one. Did you see the Blue Cobras sat next to each other today? Yeah, somebody compared it to like divorced parents sitting together at at like a child sporting event. Let's see if we got Do we have Enzo quotes? We do, which means the presser is here probably. But the quotes are never good here. They're never full. Oh yeah, Rice is a shout. Bad Rabbits. Rice is definitely a shout. On the win, especially with the performance, 3 points clean sheet, complete performance. Totally agree. Many things to be honest. The players are buying the idea, the way they work off the ball. Nico and Cole has been great, not because they score. Blah 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 blah. Yes, agree. It's always good when we win games for them. They were in the changing room and they were happy. That's funny that they were in the changing room afterwards. I don't love when owners do that, but it's your money. The reason why we changed was to protect him in the second half. They changed Kudus, so it was a risk, not any injury. Nice. I like he's taking the yellows off. That's good. On Jackson's dance, I didn't see it. Hopefully he can dance more. Jackson did the Thriller dance, which is the best thing ever. I don't know why or where that came from. Love it. After the game, they're happy. I think we're on the right path, right direction. Happy go lucky. Everybody's happy. No other real comments. Bit of a nothing presser. But we'll take it. Which is always nice. How much are we going to regret messing up the Elise deal? Probably somewhat. But I don't think immensely so. I mean, if you think about this summer and say, like, instead of Neto, you bought Elise for basically the same money, huge difference. Somebody asked me earlier, like, am I an ITK on Chelsea things? Not really is the answer, but like, oh, why would Jackson do a Thriller dance? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, bro, give me a break. Can you see my time? No, my face is covering it. It's 7 a.m. I've been up since 4 o'clock. Leave me alone. Yeah, why would Jackson do a Thriller dance? That's a bit boneheaded of me. He said he had a dream about Michael Jackson. Sure, man. Yeah, so if you think about, instead of Neto, we have Elise, that would be a big difference. Somebody asked me earlier if I was like an ITK on Chelsea things. The answer is no. However, you hear things. You hear things about from agents and from people, and some of it you can reasonably assess as real, and some of it is not. And there's some things I hear, not Chelsea side really, but people know agents and people know things and people talk, and also like everybody in football loves to talk to people who are not in football about what's going on in their life because it makes them seem cool. So like, here's an ITK nugget. The Elise thing was basically all wages. He wanted a lot of money, and Chelsea like basically had a deal agreed, but the deal was like kind of messy financially for Chelsea. It would have been quite difficult to pull off. So they kept trying to like stuff Chalobah in the deal and stuff other players in the deal. And eventually Bayern were like, all right, we'll just pay the clause. Here you go. Done. Bye. Here's your contract. Whatever you want. And that's why that deal didn't happen. So you hear things is the long one. Since the start of 2023-24, Nico Jackson and Cole Palmer have combined for 10 Premier League goals, at least 2 more than any other duo. Wavelength. Optawasa in the chat. I assume you just stole that tweet, but I like it. I also like that they were playing on the bubbles thing. Donnie said something. Tosin had an Insta caption about it. I like it. I enjoy when our players chat about it. Let's see, what are the scores? I saw somebody say, oh, Spurs are winning. I would love for Spurs to drop points here. That would be marvelous for me. Villa losing to Wolves. This would be very nice. That would be very nice. Mateus Cunha. I've also, Tosin said pop. Oh, delightful. I will not be watching Strasbourg in 30 minutes. I will be walking to a bakery to get a lovely pastry, and then I will be going to sleep. I've been thinking about Wolves a lot lately because I think Wolves are going to go down, and we talked about this. And I think one of the things that is really smart, what really smart teams do is they go to the relegated teams and like, who is good from your team that we can now get for very cheap. Like that's what Andy Robertson was for Liverpool. Like I think there's a lot of merit in that. And I look at Wolves and the players that move me. I'm curious about Andre Trinidade because he has a cool name and people like him. I'm curious about Cunha, but I think for us, he's probably not a good fit. Andre Trinidad, I'm interested. Cunha, I like, but I think we're probably too heavy in those positions, and he's probably not quite good enough. Mosquera was super nice in the US and MLS. He was real good. Don't think he's quite at Chelsea's level. I am super Strand Larsen curious. He's a big boy, and I thought he was real good for Chelsea or against Chelsea, and he's a real nice passer for his size. But if you look at like the historical, like there's not that much there, and like even now, like there's not that much there. But I am reasonably Strand Larsen curious. And then after that, there's not much, man. Like, this team is way worse than you think it is. Way, way, way worse than you think it is. People like Bellegarde. I know Seb used to like Bellegarde a lot. But, like, I was surprised that, like, in my head, Wolves feel, like, almost too good to go down, but I think they're going to go down. And there's, like, nobody that I, like, think we could get for the money I would want to pay for them. The other teams, I don't know. I don't know if like Ipswich, Southampton. I have zero interest in Hwang Hee-chan. He's not good at soccer. Or Sarabian, no interest. It's also like Chelsea are at a point, right? Like if you look at, like if we look at the Chelsea squad, so like here is the Chelsea squad. Any attacker has to be like as good as Nkunku basically to play. Like, are they better than Madueke? Are they better than Neto? Are they better than Misha's probably gone? Are they better than Sandro? Are they better than Palmer? Like, they have to be so good to actually play. Like, this is the weird thing about Chelsea having a huge squad is like there's actually no room for like depth. There's no room for like depth budget buys. Which I think is bad, which I think is like for a team who wants to make money on player trading, like you should run a smaller team. You should run a smaller team to have room for budget buys. Like Vega, Chelsea had to nuke like 12 people, but like Vega has had like, I think a pretty good year for a 21-year-old playing his first Premier League season, like only played in like Switzerland, a little bit in Germany. Like I think he's having a fine season. Like he's gonna play 1,000 minutes or something across all competitions, and like you're gonna be really happy with that as a development season for him. But you had to nuke Ben Chilwell and sell Ian Matson to do that. So like you move on some of the center backs, you move on some of the attackers, and like there's room for you to do those budget ones. If Leicester go down, I wouldn't mind Hermanson as a backup. No more backups. We have 8 goalies. No more backups. If you're buying a keeper, it's Alisson level and nobody else. Like, you just rock with Sanchez and Jorgensen and Petrovic and Penders. And Penders is nice, by the way. Penders is nice. I've been watching some stuff. I was going to make a video and then I got bored, but Penders is nice. He in the Belgian second division, playing for Genk's B team, he's like a little bit ahead of his XG, but as a 17-year-old, which is like pretty gnarly. Penders is nice. There's something there. Also, Slanina's looked a lot better this year. He got shelled midweek, but he looked better. Oblak? No, Oblak's too old. And he's not good anymore. Man United, how many moves for them to have a decent squad? 3 windows. 3 more windows. So January, summer, January. And then they'll be quite good. I think the people they've hired are really smart, and I thought they had a really good window for what they needed to do. Like, they brought in a couple starters, all the right age profile, all pretty good financial deals. They moved guys out for really good fees and wage coverage. Like getting off McTominay, who's like 28. Like, hey, McTominay's 28 now, which is like crazy to me. But getting off McTominay for good money, getting off Sancho for good money, like Chelsea have bailed them out so hard on that deal. But whatever, it's worked out for us so far, I guess. Getting off Sancho, getting off McTominay, you bring De Ligt. I didn't like the Xerxes deal, but if you like Xerxes, fine. De Ligt, I thought Mazraoui was really smart. Like I would have quite liked the Mazraoui deal for us. Like imagine the Mazraoui deal instead of Vega, and you're like, huh, I'd be pretty interested in that. Yeah, I think United are not that far away. Kepa's had a mare. Let's see what that is. Let's see what. Castle Dangle. I wonder if that's on Reddit. Let's see if the Castle Dangle got posted. We'll watch goal highlights and then we'll get out of here. Oh, Liverpool 3-0. All right, well that turned around quickly. I'm a Nunez believer, so that's fun. Cunha, Diaz brace, that's fun. We're just gonna get all the Premier League goals in here. I don't see the Castle Angle. If somebody has video of the Castle Angle, hit me with it. Let's see what we got going on here. The Mayor was goal 1. Okay. Oh, Kelleher's playing? That's interesting. Man, Bournemouth are going to be so hard done by. They've been pretty good this year, and they're going to have, like, very few points. Oh, wow. You know what, though? Look at the little T-Rex on super. I would be, for a reasonable fee, I would be so in on Nunez as a backup striker. I think Chelsea are still going to buy a striker in the summer. I think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to be Gyökeres or Sesko. I think that will be the either or. And I am warming to Gyökeres.
Will pop up some space.
Let's see, what is this one? This is Luis Diaz. I really like Liverpool's kits this year, by the way. Unrelated, but I do. All right.
He's very aware of where he is.
Are you surprised no one picked up Alfie Doughty? I was Doughty curious for us this summer. I genuinely have no idea who Alfie Doughty is, which is maybe a I don't know who that is. Oh, this is the Luton guy? No, I'm not surprised. He's like 27, dude. No, he's not. Yeah, I don't know. Not for Chelsea, definitely not. But yeah. Hey, look, we don't know all the players. Yeah. What were your thoughts on Liverpool Mamardashvili? So, here's a fun one. We can talk about how transfers work for a second. Mamardashvili was basically offered to everybody in Europe that was good for like an 18-month period. To Heath Chong, no. That guy's not good. Mamardashvili was offered to a lot of teams. Mamardashvili had an insane season last year. Insane season from a shot-stopping perspective. It's not really in line with the rest of his career, but like development's not linear, and like that's fine. My bet is that Liverpool's internal models showed that these seasons are probably actually a little bit better than this, and that this is more real. And they were like, based on how old Alisson is, we're going to move him. We expect we might need to move him, and so we're going to get his guy now before he's 60 million. And I think they're like pre-buying the replacement, which I think is really smart. I am neutral on Mamardashvili. He's huge, which I like. Terrible with his feet. And a just good cross taker for his size. Like Sanchez is a lot better as a cross taker, I think. And he can't play with his feet. Like he just kicks everything long. And again, if you're a good enough shot stopper, that doesn't matter. But I would have bought Mamardashvili over Jorgensen this summer, but I would not have bought a goalkeeper at all this summer, if that makes sense. So that's fun. But that's interesting. Do you think a striker is going to want too many minutes from Jackson, which would slow his development down? Maybe. But I think like you have a lot of competitions. I expect Chelsea will have Champions League next year. Like it's a lot of really high quality games. Like one of the things that's a really good finish, by the way. One of the things that's like really funky about Conference League is like because we're rotating so much, because the Conference League is like a lower tier competition, the players who are rotating into those games like don't give a shit. Like you see every Conference League game, like you play a fully changed 11 and they're like, who cares? Like this is fitness. But if you're rotating a lot for Champions League games, like that's like, can you imagine a world where you get to do every single match day? You play Jackson for 30 minutes and Gyökeres comes on. You play Jackson for 60 minutes and Gyökeres comes on last 30, and then you go into the Champions League game midweek and you start Gyökeres for 60 and bring Jackson for 30. Crazy, like that's impossible for defenders to live with. So I don't hate it. And you can do that every single game. The like what's his name? You can do the Arsene Wenger like sub at 60, two strikers thing forever. And, like, they're both going to play 2,800 minutes. And that's fine. And they're both going to score 25 goals or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I would still be hesitant to spend huge money on it. But, like, if you do pretty good business in terms of sales the rest of this year, like, I thought this summer was going to be like the summer of reckoning from a PSR perspective. Oof, good finish. I thought this summer would be the summer of reckoning from a PSR perspective. And then they decided actually we're going to punt it down the road, and now next summer is like pretty crazy. But I would expect to see like a lot of sales over the next year, and then we'll see from there what that looks like. Disasi, Mudryk, Badiashile, who else? Disasi nearly left this window. He and his agent were really trying to go to Newcastle, but the Guehi thing fell apart too late. But I would suspect Disasi is gone by the end of the year. No, I'm not using my iPhone as a webcam. We're not doing that. I would suspect that he's gone by the end of the year for sure. Mudryk, I don't think is sold. I think he's loaned. I think Cassidy will go. I think Carney will go. I think we'll see what the dance with Sterling is next summer, but you get those wages off. That opens up a lot for you. I think there's a chance Enzo Fernandez goes in the next year. I'm sure we'll sell an academy kid for good money. Somebody asked me, does Petro still have a chance with us? I think yes. We'll see, but I think there's a chance. And then we'll see from there. But like, I would guess of this group to play so far this season, there will be 5 gone and 5 new bodies. Probably not starters, but I would bet 5 gone. I also would be shocked if Dewsbury Hall is here longer than 18 months. Shocked. I'd bet you they flip him to another Premier League club for basically whatever they paid, like whatever's left over from what they paid. I don't think Felix will get enough minutes and leave. I think Felix is going to be a really useful sub. He's just going to come on and stat pad forever, and I think that's fine. Like even today, if I look, where did FOTMOB go? Even if I look at today, like Felix comes on, plays 30 minutes, gets 2 shots inside the box for like 0.2 expected goals, creates another shot somewhere else, and it's just like do that every week. And you'll score basically every other week as a sub. And I think that's super useful. And I think he's going to play. I think he'll play quite a bit, but I think it will all be as a sub. I think he basically never starts. I love Adama and his like tucked in jersey. It's so funky. Ooh. Oh, that's rubbish, Mr. Pope. Rubbish. Kepa's extension is just an amortization thing to reduce the PSR hit. Not surprising. Yeah, but like if you could log it all this year, you should. If you can get away with logging it all this year, you 100% should. You'd hope Kepa's extension was a wage cut too. It definitely is not. There's no way he agreed to extend his contract with a wage cut. Is Guiu in the first team justified or simply flip opportunity or something else? I think it's good value. Like he was playing for Barcelona at 17, cost $5 million. Like after preseason, I was fine with him like staying and playing 1,000 minutes. Like he's probably the same level as Broja, but 4 or 5 years younger and not serious injuries, way cheaper. Like I think it's fine. I think I probably misjudged it a little bit. He's probably a little bit worse than I thought, but like you keep him around to play 1,000 minutes this year, and then you send him on loan to play 2,500 on loan next year, and then you judge and go from there. Could you explain why dribbles have declined so massively, and if you think it's a long-term decline? Teams are way better defensively, and its pressing has dropped off a little bit stylistically. It's much more mid-block, and dribbles are hard against blocks. It's very hard to dribble against blocks. Very easy to dribble in transition. I did see the Wolves goal. It was like it was a very nice hit. Someone told me it was because you can't spend the last season of your contract on loan. That is incorrect. You absolutely can spend the last season of your contract on loan. Didn't they change the definition of dribble too? No, that's that is, you're talking about the Bundesliga thing. The Bundesliga stats recording has a different definition of dribbles from everybody else because the Germans liked it. Did I see the Fulham goal? The Wolves goal? I did see the Wolves goal. Washington future, none. He's fine. He's like a kid. I don't know why we spent 20 million on him. I've been meaning to look if he shares an agent with Estevao, because like I don't get it. I don't think he's very good. He's like a fine PL2 player. And who's your agency? Bartolucci Sports. And they just paid so much money for him, and he's like, whatever. Bartolucci Sports. Are you Estevao's agent? Because if he's Estevao's agent, then I get it. Huh. A lot of good Brazilian players in here, don't you think? Remember this guy? Moscardo? Remember when we were going to buy him? I wonder how he's been. This feels like agent shenanigans, is what I'll say about David Washington. So I don't think he's long for Chelsea. But they, I don't know what it was. The rumor that they got legitimate interest from other Premier League teams this summer. I don't really believe that, but we'll see. Stade de Reims hasn't played yet. That sucks. Would love to see you do player analysis of some of our future transfers like Pais, Estevao, Penders, or some lone players like Santos. Yeah, I mean, I've done some of that before, but I'm probably not going to do it for any of those guys until they're closer. Like when Estevao comes, I probably will do one, but that's a while away, my friend. All right, last goal, and then we're good.
It is, and he did it in the North London derby last week, didn't he? With the
I want to see this Golanki goal. Yeah, I'll definitely do Estevao when he comes, because that'll bang views, and I'm a shill. Spurs having why the Spurs aren't even having a good one? This is stupid. Brentford, you're dumb. All right, friends, we're gonna wrap it there unless there's like something you're about to tell me that Chelsea just signed. I don't know, Neymar or something. Yeah, I like that. So that's it. That's where we'll leave it today. No stream after Barrow. I don't know who do we play next after Barrow. Who do we play after Barrow? Brighton. That'll be a fun one. We'll stream after Brighton for sure. That'll be a good test actually. That'll be this is a pretty tough stretch of fixtures actually. Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, back to back. International break. This has like 4-0 beating written all over it. So we'll leave it there. Thanks everybody for hopping on as always. And if you liked it, like the stream, retweet the links, retweet the pod. There'll be a pod out on Monday, like always. We didn't talk about it. Sachin Gupta. This is the last thing, and then we'll end it. Sachin Gupta. Chelsea signed Sachin Gupta signed like he's a player. Sachin Gupta was the executive vice president of basketball operations at the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has come to Chelsea in an unspecified position. We don't know what. Liam Toomey on the Straight Outta Cobham podcast seemed to reference that he will be joining the recruitment staff in some way, shape, or form. Sachin Gupta's like public reputation as an analytics guy. He worked with Daryl Morey at the Rockets for a long time, and that he worked for ESPN. He built the ESPN trade machine. If any of you have played around with that for the NBA, and he ended up at the Timberwolves, pretty well regarded publicly. Very rare IT Kier moment. Multiple people from North American sporting enterprises, that's how I will phrase that. Let's say multiple general manager types from North American sporting enterprises who have either worked with him or worked with people who have worked with him do not have good things to say. Not at all good things to say. Like really bad things to say. So we'll see how that goes. I also have no idea what role he's coming into, so probably not that impactful. Who's our Rudy Gobert? Levi Colwill, baby. That's it for me. Enjoy your weekend, folks. We'll get back. Retweet the pods, retweet the streams, like the streams, tell your mother to watch your favorite streamer, and we'll leave it all there. Have a good weekend.